Time for your fan weather forecast brought to you by Utke Heating and Cooling. 82 degrees, sunny outside. Looks like clear skies through the remainder of the night and overnight, which is beautiful. Low tonight of 57.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is that time again, hour number 2, as we broadcast live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here, Charlie using other side of the glass. Our thanks to everybody that came out to the Napa Auto Parts store on Highway 100 for the Napa Auto Care Car Care Fair, which was a huge, smashing success. I mean, almost, 10 times the amount of cars than they had last year at this thing. So it was awesome. Just an awesome event. Thanks to Tom Menting and everybody out there. Had members of the Honor Flight on. Vietnam veteran Harold was on with you guys, right? In the second hour. Or Howard, sorry. Yeah. He was out with you guys in the second hour of the show. Had the firefighters that were out there from Greenfield. They were handing out free car seats, which was very cool. Then they had... who else? They were doing free vehicle inspections all day from 9 to 1.
First 50 people got
oil
free
changes.
Oil change coupon.
Yep, oil change coupons as well. So free hot dogs for a couple of hours. People were taking advantage of that. It was a great event. And your first time on remote. What did you think of it?
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to be out there. It was fun to see all the different people that were coming to visit, came up to the booth, got to give out prizes, be the guy giving out prizes, not just listening to that. Got a free hot dog, so I got to eat at a remote too.
She's always wanted to do.
You guys are always bragging to me about all the great food you get to have, so I got a great hot dog. Yep. It was a lot of fun. A lot of great people. Met a lot of great people, so it was a good time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then Saturday night, I was emceeing the Louis Last Regatta post-race celebration, the 27th year of that event down at the South Shore Yacht Club. That was a rousing success. $91,000 we raised for Children's Wisconsin on Saturday night. That is just a lot of fun. Even if, you don't have a sailboat and you can't race year to year, I'm telling you, just coming to the post-race celebration, the Mount Gay rum pour where everybody gets tickets and they have rum cokes or whatever else. That line was so long. I thought they were going to run out for sure. So they had that going on. DJ GA, he was out there playing the tunes and stuff. And yeah, again, it was just a great event. So thanks to everybody for being involved on Saturday for both events. Had a lot of fun there. Did not have a lot of fun necessarily with that Packer game last night, however. I mean, that's unfortunate, but that is exactly what it is. Got a text here on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk text line. 262. You ready for this one?
I'm ready. Let's hear it.
I would call, but I get too fired up. Speaking my love language right there. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, man or woman, whatever you are at 262. I hear you. Get too fired up. I don't want swearing or nothing.
I appreciate the self-awareness. Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. Vinny, you can look this up, Charlie. I've not looked it up. What were the grades on Van Ness and Gary on defense? Parsons will always get doubled if the other guys can't cause problems. Yes, Parsons is going to get doubled every time, no matter what is going on. Even if Rashawn Gary and Van Ness are having good games, they're still going to double Micah Parsons. I promise you at the end of the day. And I'm not saying he's Reggie White, but man, he's top 3 pass rusher. He was number 1 in league pass rushing coming into today as far as pressures and everything else per snap and all that other stuff. Going into that game last night, he was number 1. So, yeah, we'll look up and we'll see if we can find those grades on Van Ness and Rashawn Gary for you. Another one in here on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line 262. Hopefully we are now past letting LaFleur off the hook because the offense scored 37 points in regulation. The Dallas D allowed nearly that many to a washed-up quarterback who has now been benched for being so bad. They need to take the bye to heavily evaluate play calling all 3 phases, special teams and defense, all at a higher level. But the offensive play calling needs vast improvement too. Lastly, Hafley needs to reach out for help on how to call defense. With this personnel, he was clueless once he had to make adjustments. That dude or girl went in on everybody. What do you got on grades?
So Rashawn Gary in week 4 had a 71.4 defensive grade on PFF. That is actually above average and also better than his first 2 weeks of the season where he was a 66.2 and 60.2
and
in
felt
week 2.
No impact from him.
Lucas Van Ness was a little bit worse, but still about league average. He had a 65.4 grade, which was much worse than last week when he had an 89.8 grade, but better still than week 2 as well, a 52.9 grade. So neither one of them statistically played that bad.
Right. Yes, that is very true. Let's see here. Another one comes flying in from the 414. I hate. 3 hates. That's strong. That local and national media and fans were basically crowning us after 2 games. In addition, the refs were disgustingly against us.
See, I don't believe that. I don't believe that you hate that and you felt that after 2 weeks. I felt like most people were in love with the fact that the national and local media were hyping up the Packers this much. They were happy that the Packers were finally getting the respect that they deserved. I mean, come on. You can't tell me that you were seriously sitting there staring at ESPN or even listening to us and saying, oh, you guys are all wrong. Wait for it to come crashing down. Then you're just a negative fan, man.
That is a thing. I've been called a negative fan before. Yes, absolutely. That is a thing that could happen, but that's not a negative fan. That's a Mark Attanasio fan because Mark Attanasio is the guy that literally said before the year, I don't like when people have expectations on us. I like flying under the radar. I don't like people talking about us and expecting us to do good things. Man literally said it. He's the owner of the damn club and said, I don't like having expectations on us. And I was livid by that dumb comment. I hated that comment. Listen, I understand where you're coming from. I get it. But at some point, you got to play as the lead dog. At some point, if you want to win a Super Bowl, you're going to have to be a team the teams are going to aim for and try and beat. Now, sometimes can it be where you get hot at the end of the year, sneak into the playoffs, and then make a run? Yes. See the Packers, right? 2011. That's what happened to them. They got hot at the end and went on a run throughout. Like if you go back to the Leroy Butler, Brett Favre, Reggie White, Gilbert Brown days, they were number 1 in offense, defense, and special teams. Across the league, all 3, they were the hunted. And you know what? They were fine with it. Come get you some. And they caught a break because Dallas got knocked out of the playoffs, and they ended up with Carolina instead, which is even better. And they ran roughshod over everybody. Then they went back the next year. And what happened? They were the hunted again. They were a huge favorite going into that Super Bowl against Denver. Terrell Davis is faking it out there, playing with a migraine. Can't see where he's running and everything else because he's got like things floating in his eyes when you have a migraine. Can't even imagine playing football with a migraine. Like that is a whole completely another level of toughness in my mind. But that didn't end up the way we all wanted it to end up, now did it? They got beat. I'm all about embracing it. Like if you want to be that team, then play like that team every week. And if you can play like that on most weeks, maybe not every week, but 17 weeks, if you can play at that high level with that type of aggressiveness and running around chasing the ball on defense and doing that every week, then you're no different than every other team before this one as far as defensively. What we saw in week 1 and week 2 was a team flying around, chasing, swarming to the ball and doing their thing. Did we feel it was that same intensity level yesterday watching the game? I don't know. But to me, That's how you're going to stay at the top. That's how you're going to continue to dominate the way you were the first 3 weeks. For whatever the reason, it just was not there. And especially after Devontae Wyatt went down. That's really when the whole thing came apart because they had nobody to replace Devontae Wyatt. So, sorry. Just wanted to go back to that.
414 came back and said, is it really that hard to believe I didn't like the overhype? The Packers and crew always do better flying under the radar. And he says in all caps, and I have had friends turn their back on me for being hard on Atanasio. So wrong again.
Well, good for you. I'm happy for you. There's not many of us out there that are hard on Atanasio. Right. Most people lay down red carpets in front of Mark. Oh, Mark Atanasio, you're the greatest. And he is awesome. I'm not going to say he's not. Like, he came in, could have screwed the whole thing up. Could have fired Schlesinger, could have fired Doug Melvin, could have went out, brought his own people in, not went with anybody that Wendy Seeley gave him, and went in a completely different direction, and this whole thing would have been a disaster. He very well could have ignored Doug Melvin, hired who he wanted to hire, and instead listened to Melvin and got Stearns. Then went with Arnold, stayed in-house with one of Stearns' guys to continue this thing instead of going out-of-house. Again, he could have done that. Managers-wise, same thing. He trusted Melvin to give Counsell a shot, and it worked. Didn't work the way, a World Series goes, but it worked the way that Atanasio wanted it to work from being in the playoffs almost every year, right?
You called him Counsell, by the way.
He's a Brewer manager when I'm talking about him right now. So, yes, that worked. Then when the trader went to Chicago, he promotes his bench coach and Pat Murphy. Now, again, if we're being honest, Pat's a little older. Right? So you're giving him his first real regular major league job at a little bit older of an age. I don't know how much of a gamble it is because nobody had any expectations like Mark likes going into that season. And then Murphy and that team ball out last year and get knocked out because Devin Williams couldn't get the last guy. And now you come back this year, you outplay last year, you put up the most wins in a regular season in Brewers history. And we'll see what happens when the playoffs get here. The people that are hard on Mark Atanasio are the people that think he should be spending more money than he is. The people that think there's more money to spend within all the money you get in league revenue sharing circles and everything else that should be put towards this thing and don't believe Mark is spending everything he could. That winning isn't that important. Making money is maybe more important. Now, Mark himself has said in the past that breaking even is good enough for him. He just doesn't want to lose money, right? Breaking even's fine. I just don't want to lose money. Fine. Mark is also the one that has said, I hate losing more than I love winning. He has said that as well. That's another Mark line. I just want to hear him say, I hate not having a World Series ring when I've owned this team for as many years as I have, and we haven't even gotten to the World Series, nonetheless win one yet, and it's driving me nuts. And I'm absolutely obsessed with trying to figure out how to get this done in Milwaukee. You say stuff like that, okay, now you'll start having people buy in, but you stay far, far away from that. You don't want to go anywhere near that as a Brewers owner.
He has new expectations put on him then. If
he's putting them on himself then.
Yeah.
Right.
He doesn't want that.
Does not want that.
Joshua in the YouTube chat over here says, I'm going to call it right now. He's very excited about this Packers team. He keeps hyping him up over here. But he says, if this team doesn't go far in the playoffs, Hafley will be the new head coach. They don't want to lose him, so they will give him the job.
Not necessarily. Did you see what happened last night? If you want to make sure Hafley doesn't get a job somewhere else, let them do this 3 or 4 more times during the season. Let this be something that happens in a postseason game where they give up 40. He won't be going anywhere for a head coaching job, nonetheless getting the Packers head coaching job. We'll talk more about the Packers as we go here. I'm going to say this right now. They're going to win double-digit games. They're going to win a game in the postseason. That I'm still at. I'm not at Super Bowl, but I still think they're a playoff team. I still think they can win a game in the postseason. Tomorrow, topic tomorrow before I forget. And you all stay tuned because we'll put it up as a poll question. Tomorrow I want to do, it was brought up to me last night by Tony in Texas. Regular caller and listener of the show. Streams us on the Odyssey app like you can, Audacy, or check us out on YouTube. He said, Sparky, do you think that Jordan Love can win a Super Bowl? I said, yes. He said, Sparky, do you think Matt LaFleur can coach a team to win a Super Bowl? I said, I don't know. And Tony goes, I agree with you. Tommy was sideways. Completely.
Tommy's been defending Matt LaFleur forever.
Sideways. Hey, I defend Matt LaFleur too. I said last night, I loved Matt LaFleur. I now like him. I don't think I love him anymore. I think now I like him. I like him a lot. I just don't think I love him anymore. I think we're growing apart. We're growing apart a little bit. I'd like to rekindle the relationship and get on the same page again. Right? I'm trying to figure out how to get the connection back. Last night grew us farther apart. I'll be honest. Grew us farther apart. Just did not like how that whole 4.5 minute thing in overtime where you were literally playing to tie the game. We're literally at the end when Jordan Love is talking about it. Well, we got a shot there at the end. Didn't go the way we wanted. A shot. You had the ball for 4.5 minutes and we're take our time. Oh, look, there's a 2-minute warning. Okay, got one time out left. All right. We're in field goal territory. Just get first downs. Then we'll kick and tie the game because we have no faith in our defense at all whatsoever. So I don't want to lose, so we'll take the tie and get out of here. That's what it was. And I literally within minute, I go to Tommy, I go, and they're not playing for the win. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, they're playing for the tie. He's like, oh, come on, there's plenty of time. Okay. 2-minute warning. I go, Tommy, what do you think now? He's like, yeah, you might be right. And then as there was still no urgency after that, he's like, yep, you're definitely right. And then when they come running up in shotgun, I was like, what are we doing? Spike the damn ball. You're not going to get a field goal at this point. So lucky that ball didn't get tipped up into the air and fall down because they would never even have got a field goal attempt. That would have been on Love and on Matt LaFleur at the end of the day. You all want to fire Matt LaFleur now. Who knows? Who knows what Ed Policy would have done? Ed Policy made it come down there and said, new sheriff in town, you are gone.
Brian, you're getting Matt LaFleur's contract extension too. You get both contract extensions.
Bisaccia, you did a good job with the Raiders. You're the new interim head coach for the rest of the year. All right, see you later. And watch your fans go nuts.
That might be.
We've released Matt LaFleur of his duties. I had Rich Bisaccia as the interim head coach. Packer fans would be jumping off piers all over the state.
Q might like that. He says, name 3 things you like about Matt LaFleur. Bet you can't do it, but you want to like him. You don't actually like him.
No, that's not true. That's like, I want to like you, but do I? But this is the thing with Matt LaFleur. I'll do this for you. We can do this exercise quickly. We didn't do any of the topic I wanted to do the last 2 segments, but that's okay. Number 1, I think his players like playing for him a lot. I think his players really, respect him to a certain degree. He's straight with them for the most part. He listens to him. Hell, do you feel healthy, Johnny? Okay, Johnny, you go play. How was I supposed to know he was going to get hurt? He said he felt fine. He wanted to play, so we let Johnny go play. And he's out several more weeks. So clearly they love that part about LaFleur because he ain't holding nobody back. So that's the first thing they like is the fact that I think he respects them. They respect him. They like the culture that he's built, right? So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is, as far as scheming goes, I don't think there's many better offensive coordinators in football when it comes, to scheming running plays. You saw that on display. Collinsworth was pointing it out during the game. So I think that is a feather in his cap as well. And third, scheming guys open is something else that he's done remarkably well. McCarthy? No. LaFleur has done that. He's done it, and you've seen him do it since Aaron Rodgers went bye-bye, and in comes Jordan Love as far as getting guys open. Now, that early play yesterday where 2 receivers are side-by-side going for a ball, okay, somebody screwed up, right? I don't know if it was Golden or not, but somebody clearly screwed up and was in the wrong place. But for the most part, he does that. He schemes guys open, and he's right. So that's another thing I like about him. I really like his haircut because I kind of like trying to do the same thing with my haircut. I like it. I like his haircut.
You got to grow out the beard too.
Yeah, I don't want.
You got to convince your wife that you can
the
do it.
The whole
you can
eyebrow thing, all that. I don't think I want to go that pretty. But I mean, yeah, I like the haircut.
The after the 5 o'clock shadow and everything. I think you could rock it.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I mean, I like that. What don't I like about Matt LaFleur? Since we're on the topic, I don't like the over cutesy crap, right? I don't like the throwback to Savion Williams. I don't like that he thinks he's Ben Johnson and he ain't Ben Johnson. I think that's what irritates me the most, right? So Ben Johnson in Detroit and in Chicago here already will run a trick play or two, and you're like, whew, that turned out really well. That was a brilliantly designed trick play, ran perfectly by Ben Johnson's offense. And I feel like Matt LaFleur gets jealous. I can do that. Watch me. I'm going to design a great trick play like Ben Johnson. And they never work. Like, of all the trick plays he's ran in the last 2 years, how many of his trick plays have worked? 20%? 15%? It's not a high percentage that have actually worked where they've gotten what they wanted off of a trick play. Half the time was throwing it away, eating it, or fumbling the ball all over and they turn it over or they got to jump on it, right?
Felt like the Bears playing that same Cowboys defense last week was able to be a lot more successful with those types of plays than the Packers ever have.
Because Ben Johnson is way better at it than anybody else in the league. And for you to try and mimic and do that is just dumb. So that's what I don't like about Matt LaFleur. The second thing I don't like about Matt LaFleur is the conservative nature sometimes in which we go. You get the second drive. Jordan Love, your quarterback, is perfect. He's perfect. Hasn't thrown an incompletion. Everything's right there. He's feeling good. It's like 4th and 2. You're right around midfield, 45, somewhere in that area. And you come up to the line of scrimmage. Nobody moves. Delay a game. What? What are we doing? And that was off of a timeout, if you remember. What is that? That dumb, right? That's more dumb. Just let him go, man. Let him go. Your defense was dominant for the last 3 weeks. At that point, Dallas had no sense of moving the ball. That crap didn't happen until after they blocked the extra point. But up to that point, they had done nothing. That first possession was 1, 2, 3 punt. They were scared. Had no idea how they were going to move the ball on this team. And you're scared, and you kick the ball away. That drives me nuts. The end of the game drives me nuts. Yes. So sometimes that conservative nature of LaFleur will drive me absolutely bonkers. No question. That will drive me crazy. Another thing that drives me crazy, aren't you glad you asked, Q?
Q said you're a lot more passionate about the things you don't like than the things you do like.
Quit overanalyzing me, Dr. Phil. This is the other thing. Listen, when he got here, I was like, oh, this is cool. This is something different. Normally head coaches don't do this. But he does it too much. The whole thing of, Bob, that's on me. Bob, that's on me. Bob, that's on me. I screw that up. I screw that up. That's on me. You want to know why everybody doubts you? Because you out yourself in every press conference for making mistakes. You're more critical. You apologize more than you talking about how great other things are that you're doing on the football field. Dan Campbell, love him, hate him, he's got an arrogance. He's got an ego. He's got a swag that goes along with him. He screws up, he'll tell you. But if he doesn't and things are going well, he's going to tell you how good they are now. He's going to tell you how good they are. No messing around like that. KJ in West Allis, you're next. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's here on the Fan. Sparky with you.
Hey, what's going on, Sparky? Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
I'm going to highlight the things that I don't care for about Matt LaFleur. And one of them, a big overarching thing for me, has been the special teams for years.
Yep.
That he has not addressed. That game last night, Sparky, when it went sideways on the Packers, was almost identical to what happened in the Browns game. Only difference was they blocked a field goal last time. This was an extra point. After that, in 33 seconds, they lost the lead, and they were up 13-0 before that. And then all of a sudden they went into halftime with a deficit. I was blowing my mind, exploding at that point. The other thing is his clock management is terrible, especially in critical situations.
Very true.
Like at the end of the game.
Yep.
Very bad. I mean, and isn't he the guy, Sparky, who said when he first came in in a press conference that he was going to be all gas and no brakes. That's not what he's been at all. He's been a guy that has been way too conservative, as to your point, in critical situations like last night, running the ball 3 times when they're down there on the 19-yard line, and then on 4th down, luckily had 1 second left because the ball hit one of the players and didn't go out of the end zone to end the game for a loss. So, I mean, those are things that, man, they got to change. And he's just not, all phases of the game. And special teams, as we can see this year, Sparky, is a huge emphasis. And obviously, teams have seen on tape the inadequacies of the Packers in their special teams, and they're exploiting that. And if they don't get that fixed, they're going to have a problem. They're going to definitely have a problem going forward.
But what does a problem mean, really? Does a problem mean they win like 6 games? What is a problem?
A problem is they got a half a game, which could keep them from winning the North. I'm half empty, half full right now, but that could keep them from winning the North. It could also keep them from getting in the playoffs. So that's a problem. That's what a problem is to me. I don't care, whether they win double digits and they get into a playoff and they can't perform in the playoffs. We're talking about this team was supposed to be one of the elite teams in the NFC. And right now, they don't look like an elite team at all.
You're absolutely right, KJ. Thanks for the call. That's right. So you start talking about being bad and they're going to have a problem. Nobody means they're not going to make the playoffs. Nobody means they're not going to win more than they lose. What everybody means is this will cost them in the postseason. They're going to go in, lose, and go home. That's what everybody means, right, Charlie? That's what we're talking about here.
I think so. But also, if you look at the rest of the NFC, I can't reasonably say any other team is really in this unbeatable boat where they look like that they can go into the playoffs and beat anybody. I mean, Philadelphia, is 4-0, but they've had a lot of really close calls at the beginning of the season here. San Francisco is never healthy. They may struggle. The Detroit Lions are just now starting to find their groove, and they may be finding it too early. I mean, right now, this is all just overkill. It's 4 weeks into the season. I know we are bashing on Matt LaFleur, but one thing he always says is take it 1 week at a time. Let's take this 1 week at a time. This happened. Let's talk about it. Let's move on to next week, which is a bye. We get through that and move on.
The other part about this is we should remember Matt LaFleur's teams the last 2 years have gotten better as the years go on, or as the season goes on. First half of that first year with Jordan Love was abysmal. Everybody thought they were going to win 4 or 5 games, and they got super hot in a way they figured it out. Last year, same thing. Jordan Love is hurt. Malik Willis is playing. Jordan Love's throwing picks every game he is playing in. And then it all evened itself out, and you felt better about them going into the playoffs, and they lost. So I don't think this is going to continue on all year, this fiasco that we saw yesterday. But it is a cause for concern, because once you see it once, doesn't mean that it can't happen a second time. Coming up next, we're going to talk about Jordan Love again. Try number 3. Did Jordan Love play well, or was it something else? Next, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Served up by Wendy's. See Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie using other side of the glass. In a world of tenders, Wendy's decided to make something more juicy, more crispy, and more dippable. Dippable. I like that word.
Dippable?
Dippable.
That's a fun word to say.
New chicken tenders are here. Some may call them tendies. And yes, it's fun to say and even more fun to eat. And Wendy's new chicken tendies come with an insane new sauce lineup. New Wendy's signature, new sweet chili, or new scorching hot. Or choose one of the classics, honey barbecue, creamy ranch, or honey mustard. Whatever you choose, they're the perfect vessel to dip all your tendies in. Wendy's new chicken tenders are so juicy, crispy, and dippable, you'll remember them forever. Gotta have tendies. Gotta be Wendy's. Chicken tenders. I think I'm going to try me some chicken tenders. I like the chicken at Wendy's.
I do too. I really like the nuggies that they had. Those were good.
The what?
The nuggies.
Nuggies?
Yeah. You never heard anybody call them that?
No. Nuggies?
Yeah, nuggies, man.
Okay. Sure. You want to call them nuggies, Charlie? You
baby.
call them nuggies, buddy. I am not going to stop you
straight.
from calling them nuggies. I'm just not going to do it. I don't want to rain on your parade of calling the Wendy's nuggies a thing. Quickly here, because we're not going to have time for Jordan Love yet again for the 5 millionth time. We got Charlie Sounds today coming up here in a little bit here from Bucks Media Day in just a few minutes. And there's some Brewers news too. We'll get to that coming up at 4:40. A lot of Packers. So can we talk about this guy right here? Right here, this guy.
3rd and goal. Jacobs walks it into the end zone for the Green Bay touchdown. Josh Jacobs, 3rd on the season. Nice drive for the first drive of the second half for Green Bay. As they kept it over 5 minutes. Good mix of the run and pass. And Brandon McManus, whose last extra point was blocked and returned for 2. Essentially a 3-point swing on that. Gets the one here, and Green Bay is on top by 4.
Can we just say something? That drive was huge for this football game. It's a huge drive. They get the ball first coming out of half after you gave away the lead. Then you get the ball back after your defense does what they're supposed to do, and you casually take the ball down the field and punch it in with Josh Jacobs after you thought you had a touchdown with Tucker Kraft. And immediately everybody's like, they're not going to score now. Watch them get 3 points. People were so negative last night on Twitter. Oh, my goodness gracious. But they punch it in. Before we get Charlie Sounds today in a few minutes, Josh Jacobs had a nice game. But what about Wilson?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Wilson now, he only had like 8 carries, but he was averaging 5.5 yards per carry. Do they start to work him in a little more here, kind of going forward? Do we want Wilson to start getting 10 to 12 carries a game? Not only because he looks good, but to maybe give Josh Jacobs a little bit of a breather here.
I don't know. I would just prefer they start throwing the ball more.
No.
I mean, they threw it 43 times and
way
they
too
scored
much.
40 points.
I don't care. No, I don't want them throwing the ball.
That's how you take the pressure off of a Josh Jacobs.
No, I don't want them throwing the ball 40 times. I'd rather have them throw the ball
He's
somewhere
still got
in the
20
area.
carries in this game with him throwing it 40 times. If they don't go into overtime, let's say Jordan Love throws the ball 30 times in a game on average, you still get Josh Jacobs his 20 carries, but you also take a little bit of pressure off of him. I mean, Emmanuel Wilson's fun and all, but Jordan Love having a really good game throwing the ball is a lot more fun than Emmanuel Wilson.
This is not about fun. This is about winning football games and winning a Super Bowl and figuring out what is the best formula for this offense to win as many games as possible. And I don't believe, I could be wrong, but I don't believe that the best way for this team to win football games is letting Jordan Love throw the ball 43 times every game. I just don't feel like that's the best way. The best way to win football games is control the clock, 2 tight ends, rotate your running backs in, play action, take your shots when they're there, keep your defense on the sideline fresh and ready to go, get teams chasing early, 7-0, 10-0, 14-0, and then let's see if they can come back against this Packers defense that up until yesterday would put their ears back and go kill your quarterback. Now, I don't know what happened yesterday, but prior to yesterday, that's what it looked like for 3 weeks. I'm not a big fan of whipping it all around the field, throwing it 35, 40 times a game.
We were saying that
to be clear now, I'm not a big fan of that for anybody in the league, not just Jordan Love, just anybody in the league. I'm not a big fan of throwing the ball 40 times a game.
I think that we had this run first approach, like you're talking about, this game plan that you want before the season. But before the season, we also felt like the offensive line was one of the best in the league. And now we're looking at it and they look like one of the worst in the league.
Right. So you want him to drop back 43 times and try not to get killed?
Get the ball out faster.
That's your idea of trying to win?
It gets the ball out from behind the line of scrimmage faster than trying to run the ball as much as you are with a set of running backs that, yes, in games like this, when you're going against one of the worst defenses in the league, it looks good. But other games, they're going to get burnt out and they're going to get hurt behind that offensive line.
I'm more concerned about the defense getting burnt out and getting tired and having dumb injuries. Right. That's what I'm concerned about. Now, we don't know. I haven't seen, I've been on Twitter since I've been on there, but I have not seen if there's any update on Devontae Wyatt because they're not talking to the media today. So somebody's going to have to break news if there's anything on Devontae Wyatt. But Devontae Wyatt is out any length of time whatsoever with this injury. That is a huge hole that you're going to have to fill for the Green Bay Packers. And if it's anything like we just watched for Dallas, if that means teams now can run the football more effectively against the Packers defense, what does that mean? That means they're going to try to put together time-consuming drives. They're going to try to milk the clock and keep Jordan Love and this offense off the field.
I think when the Packers gave Nazir Stackhouse that final roster spot on their team, everybody was just excited because he was a really good feel-good story throughout training camp. Undrafted player, just really good personality.
Georgia.
Seemed like he was going to be a semi-good player, but that also should have been a red flag for a lot of people that the depth at that defensive tackle position was not strong enough that you're giving an undrafted free agent.
No. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think maybe you and I are talking about depth in a different way.
Okay.
The depth of the big fat guy, they didn't have any, right? They didn't have any big fat guys. It doesn't feel like
they have that depth at any position, though.
He's a big fat guy. Brooks is not. Wooden is not. Princeton is not, right? Princeton was inactive last night, but those guys are not big fat guys. Stackhouse is a big fat guy like Slayton was. That's the cat that you want up front, taking up a couple of guys and letting your linebackers work. That's what you want. Now, whether or not Stackhouse is ready for this moment, I don't know, but that's something that you definitely want to see kind of going forward. All right, Charlie, sounds of the day coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. See Sparky, Fifer, Charlie using other side of the glass. Prize Picks, baby. Prize Picks. We got to get to their segment coming up. Charlie sounds of the day. Prize Picks is the best way to win cash with the time about the Packers this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones are overhyped? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks. This is what I was talking about before, where you can stack like Jordan Love in multiple categories and then add another player on with them to your lineup. All you're doing is picking more or less on at least 2 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. You can stack on the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. And then if you want to pick more on, say, Love's passing yards, rushing yards, and touchdowns, now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. Plus, you can follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code Sparky, SPARKY, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Sparky to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. We'll do our Prize Picks lineup coming up a little bit later in the show. Time now for this.
1, 2, 3. What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Fan.
All right, Charlie Usen, I know where we're going. We're going to Bucks Media Day from earlier today. What do you got?
So first up, we're going to hear from Doc Rivers, head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, as he was discussing what he liked from the second half of last season and how the Bucks can improve upon this year.
John knew, we talked about it. I felt strongly that it's hard to win with the way we're going to play at the pace that we were trying to play at. You could see that early, as far as the way we play. We still won games and we were good, but I just felt strongly to take that next step. We need more speed. We need more guys that can guard multiple positions. And I thought we needed to play a different brand of offense as well. Putting Giannis on the ball has been huge for us. It gets us downhill, gets the ball up the floor faster, which is important for us. Having Scoot and other guys that can bring it up too. Advanced passes, I think we were 28th in that. So there's a lot of numbers that we can improve on. And if we do, we're just a harder team to beat. And that's what we have to become.
Just watch some Jason Kidd tape, I guess, right? You got a guy that played back in the day, coaching the team that everybody ran out of town here. Now you got another guy that played back in the day, and he's going to run it the same way Jason Kidd ran it. He's going to take credit for it and say it was his idea, but this is all stuff Kidd was doing. So we'll see how this looks. I mean, what makes this look even better on paper is you don't have a true point guard anyhow. Because I don't know if KPJ is a true point guard one way or the other. He feels like more of a guy that wants to score first and pass first. You don't really have that guy. So we'll see what this looks like. It's going to be another trial by fire, I have a feeling, the first couple months of the season, and we'll see if we like it or don't like it after the first month or two. All right, clip 2.
Next up, we're here from Bucks GM John Horst on if the roster is already set, and if not, do the guys on the training camp contracts actually have a shot to make this roster?
Absolutely not. I think that we've got 21 players. I think Doc and I've talked about it a lot. I actually think we have 21 players that deserve a chance to be on an NBA roster, to be on our roster. Obviously, there's not going to be 21 of them. There'll be 18 in the form of two-ways or rosters. And it's a really competitive camp. And we knew that going into it. We were presented the opportunity as the offseason progressed to add some players that we thought were just too good to be true, and really just great opportunities. And we're going to let the guys play it out. And I think competition gives us a great opportunity to have a great start to our camp and a great start to our season. And these guys are all fully aware of what they're playing for and what the stakes are. And they're all capable. And so truly kind of best player, best man win mentality. We want to put the best 15 plus 3 two-ways that we can on our roster.
I'm not going to call the man a liar. You say what you want to say. I'm going to tell you what I think, though. What I think is he knows what his 15 is. these guys are playing for two ways. And if I was guessing, he already knows the two ways, but maybe those are on pencil, right? Maybe I could be maybe persuaded to maybe move off of this guy if this player wows me at some point. But I would wager that 15, they already know who the 15 are. Now, that could change with injuries, right? Then you've got to hustle and find somebody else to put into the roster. But if healthy, just like spring training means jack crap to these baseball teams, it is the exact same way, I think, for NBA camps. That's it. You're playing for two ways. And in some cases, they probably already know they're two-way players unless something crazy happens. Some guy's so shot out of shape or can't hit the broadside of a barn. And they realize that he's not as good as they thought he was. So maybe he plays himself out. But for the most part, these rosters are set. I don't believe you. Okay, what's next?
And last up here, I know you're already having a bad day from the Green Bay Packers, but Giannis still showed up in video form to Bucks Media Day.
Oh, because he has COVID.
He has COVID.
Yeah.
The last question he was asked was about the reports of him being open to other options this offseason. Here's Giannis's response to that.
No, of course, yes. This guys every summer this truth, to every report. The same thing I've been saying my whole career. I want to be a team that allows me and gives me a chance to win a championship. And that wants to compete in a high level. I think it's the service to basketball is the service. Just to the game. To not wanting to compete in a high level, to want your season to end in April, so it's pretty much the same. It's not the first time I had the same thoughts. Last year I had the same thoughts. 2 years ago I had the same thoughts. 5 years ago, 2020. So it's never going to change. I want to be among the best. I want to compete with the best, and I want to win another championship.
So are people sending apology letters to Sharania?
I don't know about that, but Sharania is talking again on ESPN. And he's saying a lot of the same things he was saying. So he's a little more confident to come back out about it.
Of course he is. Because, again, as I said before, some guy on Twitter came at me today about it. He's like, oh, you believed all that crap. I was like, hold on. I said that I believe this dude has legitimate sources. You don't get to be where he is or where Woj was or as Schefter or Jay Glazer or all these other guys unless you're hitting a 98, 99% clip. For a long time before ESPN or anybody else can give you a crack at this. Guy's not going to jeopardize his career to piss off Bucks fans. That's not how this works. I know y'all think you're that in a bag of chips, but you're not. He's not going to risk his career over this. There's no way. So what I said before, and I'll say again, the man has sources. I don't know who the sources are. Only he does. My guess would be Giannis's representation are the ones that keep feeding him this stuff. I don't think he's talking to Giannis directly, but boy, oh boy, if he is, and that comes out, how bunch of morons are you all going to feel if Giannis is the guy talking to him on top of everything else?
Well, I think the biggest thing about all of this is that both things can be true. Giannis can be thinking about other teams and maybe what his future is beyond the Milwaukee Bucks, and he can also be fully in on the Milwaukee Bucks this season. You can be both those things, and I think he is both those things based on how confident the ownership feels and the front office feels.
That's not I'm going to be a Buck for life. That's not what just happened. That's not what he said. That is the farthest thing from what he just said.
But it's also not saying he's not going to be a Buck for the rest of his life.
As I've said before, if I was John Horst in ownership, I'd be beside myself mad. But they clearly are dealing with it.
They all seem pretty confident.
Yeah, they're clearly dealing with it. I'd be livid because it's completely disrespectful to them considering everything they've went through to try and win this guy more rings. It's not like they're not trying. My God, they stretched Damian Lillard's contract out over how many years to try and get this thing done? What other NBA team is going to do that craziness? Come on, man. I mean, whatever. All right, coming up next, Green and Gold Update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Straight ahead, it's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.